get your feelings hurt. Read this. What time is it? It's 3 past.
It's time for short film roundup.
That's about right now. Hey.
Yeah, short film roundup.
Like I remember when we used to say that every time.
Yeah, that was in the good old days before we were cursed.
It's not that bad though, right?
Why don't you have another drink and shut your mouth?
That's not McDonald's. What's wrong with you? Where was there a Taco Bell?
Taco Bell?
We apologize for the delay. This episode, I know you've been waiting a while for it.
It's been a while.
Yeah, It's because Taylor had a bloody nose.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
His nose was bleeding for an hour before we started shooting, and so it could start bleeding again
at any moment.
If he infuriates me again the way he has in the past, maybe I'll help it along.
Oh, by that he means punch you.
That'd be nice. I need to get the blood out anyway.
Yeah, you don't want blood in.
Is that like permission then?
Yeah.
So here on Short Film Roundup, we are 3 cursed filmmakers who...
well, 2 of you are cursed.
Let's not get technical.
All 3 of us are cursed filmmakers.
I'm not.
Who
we review short films
submitted by you guys.
The filmmakers.
Today we're reviewing...
Wow, look at that. Hey, this is
What
getting
are we
short.
at?
This is... Well, we have just a little bit more.
Sweet.
It is The Woods by Joel Molina. Molina, I think?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Molina, for submitting your film.
Yes,
if you
thank you very much.
happen to not be this person, you can also submit a film, and it'll appear on our fancy list there.
Yep.
And we'll review it.
There's a
any
Google
film.
form thing down
At
in
this
the
point,
description.
we take every single film as long as it meets our criteria.
Yes.
But like we've taken films from just like the most amateur of amateur to just peak to top tier
crazy
professional.
amount.
Yeah. The point of the show is to give feedback.
Yeah.
Not to give awards. We have an award show coming up.
That's right.
Yeah.
January 1st.
January 1st, the first annual Short Film Roundup Awards.
Yes, and by the time this episode has aired, you'll have already seen the nominations.
Yeah. And they're
if
all
you haven't, you
listed,
can check out the nomination video.
It's
There's a link in the description.
Right there? Yeah, it's one of those.
Cool.
Anyway, let's go watch this movie.
Yeah. The Woods?
They have to also. Go watch the movie. There's a link in the description for you to go watch the film because it won't make sense if you don't know the movie.
Exactly. Then come back and comment so that we know you watched it.
Tell us all about it. What did you think?
Yeah. All right.
And go.
And we're back.
Hey.
Ooh.
Wow. That was a long movie.
What a thriller.
It was an epic.
An epic 16-minute epic.
Yeah. Yeah. Wowzers.
Taylor, how's it going, man?
Hey, dude.
You want to get us started on The Woods?
I suppose so. The Woods is a murder mystery detective thriller.
Thriller. Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
And it is definitely pretty amateurish. It definitely comes across as one of your first films, which is not a bad thing. I mean,
it's bad to have a first film.
It's bad that you have a first film.
We encourage people to not start.
Don't ever.
Just don't begin.
So obviously there's a lot of things we're going to be talking about here and a lot of things that we're going to be picking apart as for why this movie didn't work. But of course, we do have the description or our disclaimer, which kind of says that, we've all been here. We've all made our first film, and nobody starts by making the most polished, beautiful works.
Right. It doesn't matter how talented you are. You'll always have something. So.
Yep.
So with that being said, this movie is insane. It's all over the place.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Starting with this guy who uses the term bro 12 times in less than 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's constant. It's like drone, just bro. Hey, bro, where you at, bro?
I felt like there wasn't an actual written script. Much of the dialogue in this film felt like, okay, in this scene you're going to say something like this, and it just sounds kind of improvised.
That's exactly how I felt too.
We can dig into all kinds of stuff about this film, but I think our advice would be most useful if we focus on the biggest things, right? The things that can make the biggest impact on an amateur movie being better.
Well, for one, I would suggest writing a script. If this wasn't written, I'm not sure if it was, but I would suggest that you have a starting place and an ending place, and then try to make up what happens in the middle. And usually what that consists of is someone you're focused on has a goal, and then that conflict is the entire story. And that's basically how you get motivation and stuff like that.
Right. So in this, the goal would be finding who's murdering people.
Right.
And then the story would be the conflicts the hero encounters on his way to discovering that.
Yeah. And this was a lot of tropes all kind of just mushed together. It didn't feel like there was no clear motivation for anyone to do anything here.
Other than the villain who wanted some peace and quiet to read his books, which is why he
and that's the other
people.
big piece is that this film actually didn't show anything.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
All of the story is given to us through spoken word.
Yeah.
Film is a visual media, and we just don't feel like we've gone on an adventure, that we've had an experience with you if we don't see the things actually happening. So what are those things? When he goes and goes to the suspect's house, the first thing he says is, "Oh, the guy who lives here is a prime suspect." Well, we've seen nothing to suggest that he's a prime suspect. He goes in and says, "Every murder has had evidence that leads back to you." We've seen none of that.
Yeah.
And then the guy later breaks down and confesses he did all the murders because he's lost everything except for his house, and now he's losing that because he can't get peace and quiet anymore. And we haven't seen any of that either.
Right.
So literally the most important building blocks of the whole story are not in the movie.
Right.
That's the biggest flaw here.
Yeah.
That's absolutely the biggest flaw. I think for your script, I think a good kind of threshold or way of testing your script. This is assuming that you didn't have a super fleshed out script, that maybe you had a script that was written just for you and for you to understand and then you to direct, which like I do that a lot, which is something I'm guilty of. But a good thing to do is if you're working for doing kind of a bigger, more ambitious project like this one is have the script stand alone as its own piece of art, like have a script completely written out that you can give to a stranger and have them read and completely understand.
That's great advice.
Mm-hmm.
It has to make sense to everybody.
Yeah.
Another good way to test that's to do like a table read with an audience, even if that audience is your friends and family. But clearly there's a lot of this story that you understand as the filmmaker, that you get, but we do not, because most of the context is in your head and did not make it out onto the screen. So before you roll a camera, find an opportunity to present your script to people who know nothing about what you're doing, because immediately they will point out, this didn't make sense, I didn't get this, I didn't get that.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. What about some technical things?
One thing is control. We usually say to start with a smaller film because it allows you for more control.
Yeah.
You've said a lot right for the locations that you have. This is not a location you have. This is a location you have access to.
That's something I never thought of.
Yeah. So like, for example, like you can't control, I'm sure, everyone who's around here. Just for example, sorry, this film's very long, so it's very hard. There we go. We have those two chairs there in the background there.
There were a lot of things that suggested that, this isn't your place.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you would have changed some things around.
Something like that, and that is nitpicking. But there's plenty of other things that show me that kind of stuff, or even in the searching part where he's whispering his son's name.
He's whispering. My guess, because you're at a campsite and there's people around you camping,
right,
and you didn't want to be the guy screaming for a lost kid.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So allow yourself to have that kind of control.
Yeah.
Be able to control everything within the frame at all times.
Yeah.
The other one is that when the the sort of attic scene where our main character's tied up and the murderer's confessing.
Yes.
We can hear what sounds like a dinner party going on downstairs.
Yeah, that's kind of insane.
Yeah.
that is in there.
Yeah.
Like, like I'm like he's like screaming at him and all this, and we can hear people downstairs just like act, life as usual,
Right.
kind of thing. So
Yeah.
again, there's clearly things outside of your control. Make a 1-minute movie with 2 characters in a room that is your room.
Yeah, exactly.
And you have complete control, and you will end up with a much stronger piece.
Yeah.
And that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
Or one way to get around that kind of thing, that kind of control, is if you say want to shoot in your room, but it doesn't match exactly what the kind of idea that you had or something like that. What you can do is make the story fit whatever that is that you're shooting in. So, for example, in this campsite, you didn't have control over everything, so you couldn't, do things like scream a kid's name, but you might be able to show that the character is in a campsite and that he wants to be quiet, or something like that. Just make sure you have a reason for what's going on.
Yeah. It's definitely clear that you love movies because of all the kind of classic tropes that are in this film.
Yeah.
I think, like, the movie, it seems like this is one of your first movies. So that's actually one of my questions is this your first movie? But I really, like there's a lot about this that I do like. Like, I like the spirit behind it. I like that the detective character is, like, he looks like Leon from Resident Evil 4. And
he reminded me of Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, I liked his kind of stoic personality.
Yeah.
So what I want to see is, like, I want to see something that you do have control over. I want to see something that's smaller because there's clearly you are a storyteller and you have things you want to, like, stories you want to tell.
Right.
And I want to see more of that.
In fact, one thing we had discussed the first time we watched this, yes, we watch our movies multiple times.
We're crazy like that.
Yeah. The first time we watched this was that while this film is a bit of a mess, we would bet that these guys are going to be good.
Yeah.
Well, like, this is a mess now. We can tell these guys have, like, that. It's not a talent thing. It's they have a passion. You can see the passion.
Yeah, without naming any names, I mean, we've seen other short films submitted to us where they almost feel like a formality.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
They've come out and you're like, oh, okay, I can see that you made the film and it's proficient, but it feels bad. Like there's no soul in it. This has soul. This has plenty of soul.
It does. Now let's get back to tearing it apart.
Sure.
So another technical thing. So two huge ones that you need to
Headroom.
address. The first one is headroom.
Oh, man, yeah.
So many shots. I don't even understand how this happened. And so my first question to you is what were you doing that that where you ended up in so many positions where you couldn't keep people's heads in the frame? This had to have happened more than a dozen times in the film, where main characters who are talking have part like this or all of their head out of the shot.
Yeah, like this there's
no reason
for this.
Yeah.
You see how much table we're shooting? It's like, what's the star here? The table or the guy? I mean, honestly, it looks like the pitcher of water is the most significant thing in this shot.
Yeah.
But he's talking. So get rid of this table, show his head. And headroom does not just mean the head. It also means some space above.
I mean, space above the head.
When because it does something to the viewer when there's not space above the head. It gives a sense of claustrophobia, of crowdedness, of being sort of squashed, reduced.
Yeah.
When we do this, it feels like the guy's bald, too.
It does, yeah.
It's like he has no hair.
It feels like he's not important. You know?
I have a little bit of a theory on some of that.
Yeah.
What do you think? Because I can't figure that out.
I think some of it is like the one where I believe it was the murderer at the end when he collapses to his knees and his entire head is out of the frame. I think that one is just unintentional and on accident.
Like this?
Yeah, that. Because look, there's no
but,
letterbox. There's no aspect ratio.
Yeah, but why wouldn't you just shoot it again?
Because he didn't. I mean, of course, this is me speculating. Of course, you have to let us know. What the truth is.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that he didn't think about doing. He didn't when he was shooting it. He wasn't thinking about. He wasn't shooting for the aspect ratio.
Or this could have been one of
crops the
those
head
super
from off.
fast run and gun like film productions where the filmmaker is in the movie and he's setting
Can't
a
see
camera down on a tripod.
I didn't think about
They're
that.
shooting the scene.
Yeah.
They're picking up the camera and going to the next scene.
Yeah.
Because they have limited time.
That makes a lot of sense.
I also don't know why the aspect ratio is
Keeps
on
changing.
and off.
Yeah.
For no apparent reason.
We have seen movies where that has a purpose.
Yeah.
Where the aspect ratio changes.
Yeah, so we have
letterbox here and then full frame.
Yeah.
Like why?
Yeah.
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 Is it literally just like you forgot to copy paste?
Actually, it looks like it was in. Oh no, it does keep changing. So this one is a heavier one than this one.
That shot.
Right, I
That's
noticed that too.
intentional though. That one's intentional.
No, cutting off his head is intentional.
Yeah.
But the letterbox is smaller than this one.
Right.
Whoa.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
3 aspect ratios in this movie.
Dude, this is experimental.
Yeah.
And
And then the lines that the kids say to each other was amazing.
they're
Is your doll's hair soft? Do you think you could break that stick?
yeah, none of the dialogue was real at all. It just none of it felt. And dialogue is hard to get.
It's
Yeah,
super hard,
it's
which
so
is why
hard
you
to-
should start with dialogue light stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why when you have a table
Um,
read, that's really important. I've done stuff where I'm like writing dialogue and I'm like, that sounds great. And I go to have a table read and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like that doesn't make any sense.
Also, if you can show something without saying it, then do it.
Yeah.
Avoid dialogue at all costs.
Yeah, and these kids didn't have to talk to each other, you know.
Okay, so the next huge technical thing that will make your movie just so much better is invest in a microphone.
Yeah.
Even if it's a super cheapy microphone.
Yeah. You can get them for quite cheap.
Have one microphone that you use for all of your sound and have a universal tone for your whole movie would make an enormous difference. And the sound is all over the place in this movie, where we have sound completely dropping out at times. So get a little lavalier mic. You can run it into a phone and put it on whoever has speaking lines. I mean, there's a lot of ways to do
lavaliers like that for like as cheap as $30.
Yeah, and they don't sound great, but they do the job.
But yeah, that's the thing. Is like it's significantly better than
the thing is, if you're using the mic on top, the one that's on your camera, and you're standing, say, 10 feet away from these kids that you're shooting right here, you're going to get those kids, but everything else that's within that space as well. You're getting the grass, the wind, the pine needles. It's all kinds of sound.
That tells the viewer all that stuff is important.
Yes.
One of the things we've talked about before, that you may look at something like this and say, well, I just want to make films just for fun. I don't need to invest in stuff like microphones, like audio recorders and all that other stuff. And it's like, the reason why those other things are necessary for storytelling is because it creates a more focused product, right? When you have something like this where your focus, it seems like, is everywhere, because your frame includes a lot of space here, on the left. You have a lot of space, which tells us something about that. Everything that you showed tells us something about it. This shot being really dark tells us something about the mood.
Which is why we thought he was falling asleep.
We did, yeah.
So he's in the dark. He has his head on his hand. He's speaking like he has like slurred speech, and he doesn't know why he's there. He's like,
we
we
all thought he was drugged.
There's like evidence against you, and that came on after he was given a drink. And so I'm like, oh, he's been drugged,
right?
But he wasn't. So I was like, what was going on in that scene?
Yeah. Also, dude, I'm gonna nitpick.
Let's do it.
Oh man, you've never seen a nit this picked.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
We've nipped some serious picks.
We have.
What?
Wait, nope. Nope. Strike that, reverse it.
Nip pick?
We've nipped some serious picks.
Okay, check this out.
Nip pick?
Oh, no.
You see the glass?
No nip picks, please.
You see the two
Sorry,
glasses
T.
that he has?
Yeah.
One of them already has condensation on it.
What does that mean?
It means it's take two.
It's take two.
Whoa.
No,
Dude.
That's super nitpicky. Super nitpicky. But
I noticed that the first time.
yeah, but it does show an element of control. That was something that you
They
did
could
not.
have done.
Yeah, that you could have.
Could have wiped the
control.
glass down.
Yeah.
What a nip.
If you find yourself saying, nobody will notice, we'll notice.
We'll all notice. There's another
Absolutely.
thing. The length of these scenes. Why do we need to show him pouring the water?
You didn't need to do that. That's just,
Not only to him, but also to the other guy before
Yeah.
they start speaking.
Yeah, and they're saying
Editing
nothing.
does
Yeah.
passage of time.
Yeah.
Editing does that. So if you just cut to them now with glasses in their hands,
Right.
it makes sense to all of us that there was a passage of time in which water was pouring.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't need to see that.
You could even just have them just start talking
You could. Yeah.
while
Yeah,
they're pouring the glass.
I mean, a lot of shows go through this where they serve people food and then they don't even touch it.
Yeah.
Or they don't even drink, or they don't show any of that. It's because it's all focused right here.
Yeah.
Another thing that I've noticed in movies and TV is in those scenes. If you pause it and take a good look at their plates, sometimes there's hilarious stuff on those plates. like they don't always dress up a plate to look like believable food.
Oh yeah.
Especially if it's meant to look like eating has already happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so you'll see like what looks like a torn up donut and like a crumpled up coffee filter.
So whatever they had on the.
Yeah, it's just like garbage all the time. And then they usually like pour like milk on top, so it looks like a sauce has been like spread out. It's like some nasty stuff, but it's always just slightly out of focus, and you're just like,
But
what did they eat? Did they eat and vomit on their plate? What the heck is going on there? Anyway, I digress. Another thing you can do to make your films make more sense is use establishing shots.
Yeah.
There's 2 instances in this film where we really could have used them. I've done probably more, but 2 that come to mind is one at the very beginning when the 2 fishermen are at the fishing hole. So we see them walking down here, right? So we know, okay, they're in a place with a road in the woods. They have fishing poles. We assume they're going fishing. But then the next shot, it's a very long shot. The next shot, we find out, no, they're crazy people who fish on dry land.
Right. Yeah. We're not shown water at all.
Because we don't have the establishing shot, and they're so far away from the water that it just looks silly. It's like these guys they're like, what kind of bait do you use? And I'm like, why do you need bait? You're fishing into dirt. It's not till we get this, angle from the murderer POV
And
that we see water.
also, cutting to the murderer POV like that, where it's over the shoulder, made me feel like I was looking over the shoulder of
One of
that
them.
guy right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel like a voyeuristic.
In fact,
thing.
if to make it more voyeuristic, you would not have him in the shot. You would
Yeah.
have a camera back here with some movement to it,
Yeah.
looking at them.
Yeah.
And then you get the feeling of, oh, they're being watched.
That they're being watched.
Yeah. The other instance was main character finds his son is still out and about after he told him to go home because there's a murderer on the loose.
Mm-hmm.
Dad of the year. He's like, oh, there's a murderer in these woods. Go walk home by yourself, son. He tells him to go home, and then the next thing we see is him entering his room. So it's just before that, I think. That was it. So he's like, get out of here. Go home.
Leave the girl.
And then here he is. Now, no establishing shot. And because of that, it feels like this boy lives in a room. And that's it.
And that's it.
Like that's the front door to his house. And it's a single room house. We don't know what the context of this house is.
Yeah.
We see the murderer dude comes up to this window. I mean, the geography of this scene
Right.
feels like he is in a box room.
And it's just because of the camera work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All you needed was one exterior shot of a house.
Right.
This would make total sense.
Yeah, and that's one of the things with context, making sense, and trying to have a table read first or showing people your movie thoughts or script before you do it would help with this kind of stuff because this context exists inside your head, and you need to get it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Meaning you know that there's the rest of the house. No one else does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't get inside your mind, unfortunately.
Exactly.
Another funny thing that I couldn't help but kind of laugh at when it happened was when this kid was tied up and his father comes in to rescue him, and the kid says, "Thank God you're here."
Thank God it's you.
Oh yeah,
Thank God it's
thank
you.
God it's you. He's not like, "Daddy, thank you, you saved me. I was so scared." He's like, "Thank God it's you."
Not only that, look how easily these ropes come off.
Yeah.
Or the extension cord that happened to be in the garage already.
Yeah.
So I mean, it just you can't go halfway or fake something, and not have it show.
Yeah.
I mean, an extension cord will always look like an extension cord.
Yeah.
And it'll look like it's not bound to a child if it's not bound to a child.
This is why filmmakers are insane, right? This is why we build houses in the middle of nowhere just so we can have the shot of this house specifically here.
Yeah.
It's the reason why people get very seriously injured when they're doing a stunt, because it needs to look good.
Yeah.
You know?
Like how many times we've looked at each other and said, we could probably make that.
Right. Right. Exactly.
It's why the three of us spend a lot of time at Lowe's and Hobby Lobby.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So context and control.
Do you have anything else to say?
I enjoyed watching this,
I did too.
and I really, really would love if you keep sending us your work.
Yeah.
I would,
As you keep making stuff.
yeah, I'd love to see you progress over the years, and I hope that you stay in touch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Please answer our questions in the comments under this video. Let us know what you think about our critique, and answer our questions.
What are our questions?
We asked a few.
Yeah, we asked a few. Mine was,
Was it your first
yeah.
movie?
Is this your first movie? What have you made before? And if you haven't made something yet after this already, I challenge you to make something under 2 minutes with no dialogue.
I think we sort of asked this, but my other question is what is the missing context for this whole movie? I had suggested that there's a lot to this story that we're not seeing on the screen. If so, what are those things? Who is this guy? Do him and his kid live in the woods and solve crimes together normally? And what were the clues that led to this guy being the prime suspect?
I have some more questions.
Do it.
Go ahead.
Drop them.
I was gonna say, not a question. I was gonna say advice, and that was the same thing you said. 2 minute.
2 minutes, no dialogue.
No dialogue.
Who was your cast? Was it like a bunch of your friends or family? And is filmmaking something that you are looking into seriously pursuing as a career, or is it something that you're more pursuing as a hobby, or is this a one-off thing that you just want to do for fun?
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I don't have any others.
Yeah, that's it. Well, thank you once again for sending your film, and we'll see you next time here on Short Film Roundup.
In the void.
He's trying to do that thing again where he does an ender.
Just trying
like
to wrap, you know what I mean? Like just because sometimes we just kind of
meander
just and it just sort of peters out, you know. And I kind of want to give it a good
hard finish.
end with a full stop.
Full stop.
Yeah, period.
Yeah.
Period.
A dot, a exclamation point, maybe.
Exclamation point.
Where did you get that?
What?
Where did you get that rock?
Holy Moses! Where'd you get a rock?
There's no rocks around here.
No.